Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In the previous video we have studied about this theorem which states that if you have a sequence of compact linear operators, then the limit of that sequence, which is a operator, is also compact provided we have uniform operator convergence for this particular sequence. So now the question here is, if we replace the condition of uniform operator with strong operator convergence, then what happens to this result? Is the theorem also valid in that case? So the answer to this is no. This theorem does not hold if you replace this uniform operator convergence with that of strong operator convergence. How? We shall see this through an example. So for that, suppose we have a sequence of operators represented by Tn, where we define every operator in the sequence defined from the space L2 to the space L2, and we define it by when you input x into it. Now what is x? X consists of all the zeta i's which belongs to the space L2. So then Tn of x would be this tuple over here, where at the end you have embedded infinitely many zeros, right? So this is the sequence of operators. So now in this case, we say the theorem does not hold for this case. Let's see how. So first of all, let's see how these operators, they are compact, because each of these operators, they are linear in nature, and moreover they are bounded. Because why bounded? Because it is defined in this manner. So therefore these operators are compact in nature, and this is one thing. Another thing, if we see the dimension of Tn of the domain space, which is L square, so this is finite in this case, right? So we can club these two things. One is the compactness of these operators Tn, and another thing that when we apply these operators onto the space L2, we have a finite space. So in that case, using the result that we already studied about this, right? So here in this case, we can see that Tnx. So basically what we are saying the sequence of operators is compact in nature. However, the limit of this would not be compact. So that would be studied by studying the nature for this Tnx. So what is this Tnx? That Tnx is represented by this tuple over here. So this tuple is being mapped to this thing because zeros does not make a difference here. So basically Tn is mapping this to x only. So we can write this to be the identity operator, right? However, we know that the identity operator, that is not compact. Why? Because in this case the dimension of L square is infinite, and being the dimension as infinite, the operator I is not compact. So we can say that this theorem does not hold when we replace the uniform operator convergence with the corresponding strong operator convergence. Then what is the result? So we have a property which says that for a compact linear operator, this property transforms weakly convergent sequences into strongly convergent sequences. So now this is really interesting. So the theorem here, it says about the weak convergence of sequences. So for that we define two spaces x and y, which are normed spaces, and we define T as a operator which is a compact linear operator from these two spaces. So now if we take any sequence xn in the space x which is weakly convergent, so we are representing this convergence by this W, which represents this convergence is weak in nature. So the corresponding sequence Txn, which is obtained by applying the operator T onto each element of this sequence, that sequence is strongly convergent in Y. So this is the result here. And moreover, they say that the limit y would be nothing but the limit for the operator sequence txn. So it would be y is equal to t of x. So this is the theorem here. For the proof of this theorem, we assume yn to be txn and we assume y to be t of x. So first of all, we shall show that we have a weak convergence for these two y's, and then we will prove that we have a strong convergence using the first result in this case. So let's move ahead and prove this first weak convergence of yn to y. For that, what do? We take g as any bounded linear functional on y. So we are taking this on the space y. Corresponding to this functional g here, we are defining some functional f in x such that they are related to each other like this. So you can see this like this. We have t from x to y. So in y we are considering the functional g, in x we are considering the function f. So obviously the inputs here would be elements of x, so we are calling that to be z, and here the inputs would be obtained when you apply t onto the elements of x, so that would be tz form. So we are saying both of these, they are equal. So we are choosing this f such that this thing is equal to each other. So this is we are assuming. Now because f is linear, why? Because g is linear, right? G is linear and we have defined f to be g of t of z, so that means f is also linear. Moreover, f is bounded as t is bounded. How? You can see it here that when you take the modulus of this f of z, you will take the modulus of g of t of z according to this definition, and now you can write this to be less than equal to norm of g, norm of tz, and again you can write this tz to be less than equal to norm of t multiplied by norm of z, right? Okay, so now because g is bounded, t is bounded, and also elements of z, they are bounded, so therefore this is bounded. That means f is bounded, right? And because t is bounded because it is a compact linear operator, right? So this is what we have with us till now. We require to prove the weak convergence over here. So here look at this thing. We are given xn converges to x weakly, and where are all these xn? They are present in this normed space capital X, right? So because xn converges to x weakly, so according to the definition for weak convergence, we have f of xn converging to f of x, and according to definition, what was f of xn? It was nothing but g of t of xn. So according to the definition where we have defined this to be f of z to be g of t of z, so now instead of z we are writing xn. So f of xn would be g of t of xn. So using this thing, now what was your txn? In the very starting we have defined txn to be yn and tx to be y. So this becomes here g of yn. This approaches g of y. Now because we have considered g to be any arbitrary functional, so therefore we have weak convergence here for y. So you can see this by the definition for weak convergence, that there exists some functional in the dual space such that functional applied onto that particular sequence would converge to functional applied onto the limit point. So this is the weak convergence. So now we have to show the strong convergence here for this particular y. So we will show this through the method of contradiction here. So we assume that the strong convergence yn to y does not exist. So that means if this does not converge, so we will say we have a subsequence corresponding to the sequence yn which does not converge, because we are saying this sequence is not converging to this sequence. Right? So we will say corresponding to this sequence yn here, we have its subsequence represented by ynk, where the distance between ynk and y is greater than some positive number eta here. If it converges, it has to be less than eta, but in this case we are saying this, that the distance is greater than eta for some positive number eta, because this does not hold. Moreover, it is given in the statement of this theorem that this sequence xn is weakly convergent. Right? So this theorem is weakly convergent. This is given to us. Now moreover, the sequence is bounded by the following result. How? Because if we have a weakly convergent sequence in a normed space, then the weak limit is unique and every subsequence xn converges weakly to x, and the norm of the sequence is bounded. The sequence of norm of the elements xn, that is bounded here, right? So according to this result, because we have weakly convergent sequence, so therefore this sequence is bounded. And if this sequence is bounded, then if you take any subsequence for this sequence, which we are calling by xnk, that has also to be bounded, right? Being the subsequence of the sequence. So this is one thing. We have xnk and xn to be bounded sequences. Now because T is given to be compact, it implies that every sequence Txnk has a convergent subsequence. So we call that convergent subsequence to be yj tilde. Right? So what is this thing? This is tilde. Okay. So we are saying because T is compact, therefore every sequence of this kind T of xnk, where xnk is bounded, has a convergent subsequence according to the definition for compactness of an operator T. So we say all of these yj tilde are converging to y. So we assume this thing. Because the sequence is converging, so it should has a limit point here. So we are calling that limit point to be y tilde. Now because we are saying this thing is converging to this, so that means we are saying this thing is converging to this strongly. Whenever we have convergence, that convergence is obviously a strong convergence. So because we have a strong convergence here, we also have a weak convergence because we have a stronger argument here, right? So strong convergence directly imply the weak convergence. So this is one thing. So therefore we have weak convergence between yj tilde and y tilde. But according to equation 1 or part 1, we have just proved that yn converges to y weakly. And now we are saying yj tilde converges weakly to y tilde. Earlier we were saying yn tilde was converging to y, right? Now we are weakly, and now we are saying yj tilde converges to y tilde. So from here we can see that this limit y tilde and y, they are nothing but equal to each other. If they are equal to each other, that means if you wanted to take the norm of these two, that norm is going to be the 0, because the distance between the two numbers, which are nothing but same, should be 0. So we are saying the distance given by the difference between the norm has to go to 0. However, this distance cannot go to 0. Why? Because we have assumed that the convergence here does not hold. So that means the difference has to be greater than some positive number. And now we are saying this distance is nothing but 0. So this cannot hold, right? So according to this result, we have a contradiction to the assumption. And what was our assumption? Our assumption was that this thing is not true. So because we have a contradiction, so this thing has to be true. And what was yn initially? Yn was the sequence txn, and y was the sequence t of x. So we have proved here the strong convergence of the sequence txn to t of x, right? And this is what we were intended to prove here in this video. So I hope you understood this theorem. I'll see you for the next time.